Liverpool fans, big news ahead of the Wolves clash. From Frimpong's decision to Gakpo updates and a $188 million transfer target, we've got it all covered. Hit that subscribe button and join Anfield Wire for the latest Liverpool news, team updates, and transfer scoops every day. Liverpool predicted lineup versus Wolves with major Jeremie Frimpong decision expected. Liverpool faces 2 Premier League matches in just 4 days, but any thought of rotation could be deferred until the weekend FA Cup tie against Wolves, rather than the midweek league clash. Not for the first time this season, Arne Slot approaches a Premier League game with major questions over who to start at right back. The same could be said before Liverpool's last outing against West Ham United, when Slot opted to select Joe Gomez, but the Dutchman may be forced into an alteration when the Reds take on Wolverhampton Wanderers in midweek. The Midlands club looks almost certainly doomed to relegation, but Wolves has improved drastically under Rob Edwards in recent weeks. Indeed, it has lost just one of its last 4 Premier League matches and, having drawn with Arsenal 2 weeks ago, beat Aston Villa on Friday. Wolves are out to claim another scalp against a top 5 opponent, and Slot will not underestimate the task at hand. Therefore, choosing the most appropriate right-back is a must. If Gomez is not available from the off, there are surely doubts whether he could start twice in 4 days. Slot could plump for Curtis Jones in that role, as he did in the recent FA Cup win over Brighton and Hove Albion. Dominic Szoboszlai may also be deployed in defense, while Jeremie Frimpong is fit again after coming on for the final stages of the West Ham game, following a 5-match layoff. "I don't think the only position we struggled was the right fullback position," Slot said in Friday's press conference. "I think it has been in more positions, but right fullback is probably the one that stands out most. Having Jeremie back is really nice, but managing his minutes does go through your mind. Because of the fact we play 3 games in 7 days. Because we play Galatasaray at Anfield and have the early kickoff afterwards in Brighton. Those things you all have to take into account, especially with players who come back from injuries. That could hint Frimpong is not yet ready to start, and given Gomez's fitness issues and the need for Szoboszlai's presence in midfield, Jones looks like the obvious selection at right back. That might be the only change from Saturday's win, with any rotation likely to be saved for the FA Cup encounter at Molineux on Friday. That would mean Alisson continuing between the sticks, behind a back 4 of Jones, Ibrahima Konate, Virgil van Dijk and Milos Kerkez. With Florian Wirtz injured and Jones possibly set for a defensive berth, Slot could stick with the tried-and-trusted midfield trio of Ryan Gravenberch, Alexis Mac Allister and Szoboszlai. Up front, Mohamed Salah will hope to break his 10-match Premier League scoring drought at Molineux, while Hugo Ekitike and Cody Gakpo, who both scored on Saturday, are likely to continue. Liverpool news: Arne Slot makes Cody Gakpo admission as Dutchman is labelled easy target. Liverpool's 3-game winning streak hasn't solved all of their issues, with Arne Slot commenting on Cody Gakpo's recent slump. Liverpool's recent uptick in form has reignited their momentum in the race for Champions League football. Their 3-match winning run, with their 5-2 win over West Ham United their latest triumph, has put them within 3 points of both Manchester United and Aston Villa, who sit 3rd and 4th, respectively. While they've begun consistently picking up maximum points, glaring issues hampering the reigning Premier League champions still exist. A lack of a physical midfield presence and continuing problems from set pieces remain some of the biggest points of concern for Arne Slot's side. Among their issues has been the form of Cody Gakpo, who is enduring his worst season at the club since his £45 million Anfield arrival in 2022. His lack of goals and substandard performances has resulted in the Dutchman facing calls to be dropped. The Dutchman is one of several Liverpool players who haven't performed to their usual standards this season. His lack of goal-scoring has hampered the club's faltering forward line. Gakpo's strike against West Ham was only his 3rd goal since November and his first league goal since netting against Fulham in January. Despite his drought in front of goal and some below-par performances, Slot said he didn't believe Gakpo's confidence had been affected. However, he did admit the forward had made different in-play decisions because of his poor form. Make the Mirror your first choice. Click here to activate or add us as preferred source in your Google search settings. The Reds boss said, "I was happy because it was the 4-1 goal, so that gave us an even more comfortable cushion, but even more happy for him to score because I think he needed that goal. I don't think his confidence was gone or away in that regard, but I did see a few times recently that he maybe made different decisions than I'm used to from him. That doesn't always have to mean it's a lack of confidence. But when players are not scoring for a longer and longer time, they start to think more about their direction, and overthinking is not the best thing you can do." Gakpo, in particular, has faced growing calls to be benched amid his poor form, with sections of the Liverpool fanbase wanting to see Rion Gumaha start in the left-wing position. The considerable criticism the 26-year-old has received when Liverpool aren't at their best is partly due to being an easy target, according to ex-Reds midfielder Jason McAteer. He puts a right shift in and sometimes doesn't get the credit he's worthy of. He's having quite a productive season, scoring goals. With just 8 goals to his name across all competitions this season, he's scored 10 goals fewer thus far than the entirety of last season's title-winning campaign. Liverpool transfer news as $188 million swoop-eyed and Newcastle battle for 33-goal ace. Liverpool transfer news as Arne Slot's side is linked with a move for a Paris Saint-Germain midfielder, and Newcastle is linked with a 33-goal South American striker alongside the Reds. Liverpool has turned a corner with its results lately and things are starting to look up for Arne Slot, but more work will be required to fine-tune his roster when the season comes to an end. Out wide, Liverpool could with some more pace, and depending on the outcome in Ibrahima Konate's contract saga, it might need more additions at centre-back alongside Jeremie Jacquet, who will arrive from Rennes. Here is the Liverpool.com verdict on the latest transfer gossip to emerge around the Reds. We start with a bold claim about a PSG superstar who is supposedly being eyed by Europe's elite. Liverpool, Manchester City and Real Madrid are all keeping an eye on João Neves at PSG, according to SportsBoom. One of the best players in the world, he is under contract until 2029. Valued at as much as $188 million, £140 million, there is absolutely no suggestion that PSG would want to lose the 21-year-old. A regular for club and country, Neves is a key man for PSG and Portugal. While Liverpool, and the rest of Europe, would obviously love to sign a player as good as Neves, it is almost an impossible deal to pull off, even though the Reds have shown they are willing to splash out big fees with the likes of Alexander Isak and Florian Wirtz. Luis Suarez, Sporting CP. Premier League duo Liverpool and Newcastle are both interested in signing the Colombian forward Luis Suarez from Sporting CP in the summer, according to the Portuguese outlet A Bola. The 28-year-old has scored 33 times so far this season for club and country combined, exploding in place of Victor Gyökeres in Portugal after his move to Arsenal, where the Swede has been a moderate success. Suarez leads the Portuguese scoring charts with 22 goals domestically. He is averaging a goal every 85 minutes, which is better than the likes of Radamel Falcao, who averaged one every 101 minutes, and Jackson Martinez, who needed 152. Read pre-match team news from both camps ahead of Liverpool's Premier League trip to Wolverhampton Wanderers. The sides meet twice at Molineux this week, the first in the top flight on Tuesday night, 8:15 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time kickoff. The Reds are set to be without Florian Wirtz due to the back injury he is recovering from. The game tomorrow will probably come too soon and maybe the game at the weekend as well. Let's see how that ends up, Arne Slot told his pre-match press conference on Monday morning. But we hope to have him back somewhere next week. Maybe earlier. Maybe a bit later. But that timescale. Jeremie Frimpong returned from a 5-game absence by featuring for a quarter of an hour off the bench in the 5-2 win over West Ham United on Saturday. The Dutchman's cross forced the own goal by Axel de Saisai that wrapped up the scoring at Anfield. Asked about managing Frimpong's minutes to ensure he can continue to be impactful, Slot replied, "Having Jeremie back is really nice, but what you are saying does go through your mind. Because of the fact we play 3 games in 7 days. Because we play Galatasaray, at Anfield, and have the early kickoff afterwards in Brighton. Those things you all have to take into account, especially with players who come back from injuries. But we also know the importance of every single game. That is a challenge the performance staff, the player himself, the manager has. But I'm not the only one who has that. I prefer to have this problem, to manage how many minutes I have to give him, than to see him with the medical staff doing his recovery." On the possibility of Frimpong starting versus Wolves, the head coach said, "That definitely goes through my mind. But the other thing is, you can also say the same about Joe Gomez, who has been out for a while, played 75 minutes for the second time. The last start he had before the weekend was against West Ham 3 or 4 months ago. These are all the things which is our situation this season, and in the meantime I think the players handled that really well." In terms of the hosts, their boss Rob Edwards has a full complement of players to choose from. Hee-chan Hwang has recovered from a calf strain and Ladislav Krejci is eligible again after suspension. Andre limped off during the closing stages of their victory against Aston Villa last time out but is available. "We're fully fit, so it's great," Edwards said. "We've got a fully fit squad to be able to pick from. I doubt there's anyone that will have that at this stage of the season. That's a real positive." Edwards was quizzed on the possibility of freshening up his side after that win over Villa. He replied, "Especially after a win, it's easy to sort of convince yourself, actually, I'm feeling all right and I'm ready to go again." We're not tired, we're ready. We recover as normal, but then we make sure we just get that balance right between what we do on the grass in training and what we can do with individual players or in meetings. But everyone will be going through that at this stage of the season anyway. February was really busy for us, with 6 games in 20 days, so it's been a tough month. But we've had enough time to recover and we're ready for this one. Liverpool given huge Jeremie Jacquet injury update as decision made. Liverpool have been handed a fresh Jeremie Jacquet injury update after the Reds-bound centre-back suffered a serious shoulder issue last month. Liverpool-bound defender Jeremie Jacquet is reportedly set to undergo season-ending surgery on his shoulder. Jacquet agreed to sign for the Reds in a £55 million plus £5 million add-ons deal last month, with the 20-year-old heading to Anfield in the summer. It meant that the Frenchman would remain at Rennes for the rest of the campaign, as he looked to help Les Rennais return to European football. But Jacquet is not expected to feature again for Rennes this season. Just 5 days after his move to Liverpool was confirmed, Jacquet suffered a serious injury to his left shoulder in a 3-1 defeat at Lens. According to West France, Jacquet's inconclusive pain tests has left surgery as the only option. It's added that Liverpool were in contact with Rennes and Jacquet, but have played no part in the decision and left the final word down to the Ligue 1 side and the player. With Jacquet set for weeks on the sidelines and Rennes' season to end in mid-May, there is a high chance that his season is over and he won't play for Frank Hayes' side again this campaign. Jacquet will then join Liverpool on July 1 after the Reds completed a move for the talented centre-back, who had been linked with Chelsea and Bayern Munich before Arne Slot's side swooped in. Speaking after Liverpool completing the signing of Jacquet, head coach Slot said in a press conference, "Very pleasing, of course, because first of all he is a very big talent, and maybe even more than only a talent, but we speak about talent because of his age, of course. Second of all because we weren't the only one interested in him, so another big compliment for the people that are working every single day so hard to sign players, that we were able to sign such a big talent. And it is another example of the model we are using at this club, so young, very talented players, sometimes in the start of their career, sometimes already a few years into their career, but always players that are young and can improve us and help us for the short, but definitely also for the long term. We have signed a lot of them recently and I've said many times that the mid to long term, but even the short term, future of this club is in a very, very, very good place." Jacquet had made 33 senior appearances for Rennes, including 21 this season, before suffering the shoulder injury on February 7. In total, the 2005-born ace has clocked 88 senior appearances across his career, starting in Rennes side and having 2 separate loan spells at Clermont Foot. He is set to strengthen Liverpool's defensive options and could partner Virgil van Dijk next season, with Ibrahima Konate's contract up in the summer and Giovanni Leone set to be still making his way back to fitness.